I'm David Levy, and you're watching The BAM Show.
Bam! Yeah, I'm telling you. Like everyone. Look at it. This is The BAM Show. Barter and Marketing, where we get you the real deal. I'm your host, Joshua Smith from Sherwood, and today we have a slightly different format to our show. I have two very special guests, Dan Ciccone, Executive Vice President of Media Investments and Strategy for Sherwood.
Glad to be here.
Dan, welcome. It's nice to see you out of the office for a change. And one who really needs no introduction, but I guess for those who've been living under a rock for the past 30 years, the President of Turner Broadcast, David Levy.
Thanks for having me.
Welcome. Yes.
Appreciate it.
A couple little tidbits on why the pairing of these two. They have known each other since 1986, 30 years. Which is really, if you think about it...
We were 5 years old, right? Was that
Yes. Thank you very much for aging.
Yes.
I greatly appreciate it.
I can imagine the sideburn chops Dan had when you guys met. But in this day and age, when things are changing so rapidly, it really is a testament to their friendship and business relationships. It really is impressive. It's very nice. Both known as, I think more David than Dan, but the original creative deal makers in the media industry. And another reason, Dan, ever since I've known Dan, he's been going around the office kind of mumbling, David Levy this, David Levy that. I've learned everything in my life from David Levy. No, David, he speaks the world of you.
Well,
it is great
vice
to
versa,
have you.
just so
yes.
you know. Vice versa.
Dan, David, either you take it from here. How'd you guys meet?
Actually, I was at Chiat Day at the time, and David was just a newly employed young salesman at Turner Broadcasting. And I think we did something for Royal Caribbean Cruise Line. I think it was the very first deal that we ever put together.
Royal Caribbean, the official cruise line of Turner
official cruise
Sports.
line of Turner Sports. That's
Whatever
right.
that meant.
For everybody that do not know David, you're really quite the anomaly in this business. That you're actually at the same company.
Yeah, 30 years.
Where you've gone, well, not only your tenure at the company, but you started as a young salesman, moved into the first head of sports sales, went into CNN and Turner International, back to sales in a capacity of president of sports, president of distribution and sales, and now president of all of Turner Broadcasting, which is a success story that is really very uncommon, if has ever been done before in our time in the industry. What's Turner doing to keep content relative popular?
Our company used to be, I think in this order, it used to be advertising first, distribution second, consumer experience third. I think if you talk to our company today, we look at consumer experience first, distribution second, and advertising third, which is kind of, why would you be doing that? It's because if we can't get the consumer to come in, we don't have a product.
Sure.
And so we look at the consumer experience first, and that deals with content, distribution, and execution. So the first thing we're doing is with our content is we're reducing ad loads, because we're teaching the next generation of consumers, whether it's Netflix or Hulu or anything, to watch content with limited commercials. And so we have to give sort of that same experience if possible, and we're looking for the advertisers to support that. And early on in this upfront we just finished, we got a lot of support from the advertising community. I mean, we're going to have to prove out that we believe that a consumer experience is a better experience and worth it for engagement, for recognition of brand and everything else. But that's number one. Number two is, we've moved away from what I would call the acquired series into more original programming. But that's also what's happening in the industry itself. So just think about it. If you're a producer, a writer, director, and you're not working, you've got a problem.
Oh, yeah.
This industry is sucking up original programming all over the place. I mean, whether you're Facebook looking for original programming, or Hulu, or Amazon, or Turner, or the broadcast networks. So, there's a war out. I mean, personal war for content. And so we've put a lot more money into original programming. We're looking at the consumer first. We're doing a lot of data, as Dan mentioned earlier. It's just analytics is a new way to say statistics, but now it's analytics. I would call us now a content creation, distribution, data company, which is very different. That's different skill sets.
Mm-hmm.
So we used to be looking at, someone said to me, where have you been spending your most time lately? And you would think, in the role that I sit in, you would be sitting, well, I work with producers and directors. No, I've been spending more time interviewing data scientists and computer scientists and engineers than anything else. because that's the kind of people we need in this company. Why? It's important for programming. It's important to understand our consumer. And it's really important for the advertisers to be able to merge their data and information with ours to get more target audience.
But how critical are live sports in that mix outside of entertainment?
We wouldn't be where we are today without our live sports. It's must-carry programming for the cable operators. It works with our consumers. They love the content. It works for our advertisers. They love supporting it. But we're not a 24-hour sports channel. And then I think one of the most interesting things we just got involved in with this year, which I think is imperative to bring what I would say the millennials back to the television set, because as we all know, they are leaving in droves. To bring them back to the TV is we invested heavily in esports. We launched a new league with our partners at IMG called ELEAGUE. You know, the most important thing we had to do there, and this is kind of unique and different in launching this, is we focus very much on the consumer and being authentic. If we weren't authentic, we wouldn't have been successful. And we spent a lot of time talking to the industry, talking to the players, talking to the fan base to make sure we got it right. And so far, we've got like something like a 96% approval rate coming out of the blocks. From a ratings perspective, you know, it's doing what we thought. But from an advertising perspective, we have Arby's in there, we have Buffalo Wild Wings, we have Domino's, we have Geico. And those are not typically the advertisers that have been advertising in esports. And they've had a terrific experience with their consumer base. And so we seem to have a good connection there.
What's your secret? What's the secret? What's the Levy secret sauce that keeps that creativity moving?
You know, first of all, you got to surround yourself with great people. I mean, that's the most important thing. I mean, I always say to people that if you manage your job just to keep your job, eventually you won't have your job. And a lot of people manage just to stay status quo. And, you know, that's nice, but I think in the end, you need to surround yourself with really smart people that can take your job, and you need to take risks.
But when the next level or the next generation of Levys are in the industry and running the industry, what's the industry going to look like then?
We have to look at the television as a video screen. And it's really about all the screens we're talking about. And we've been talking about it for 5 years. It's actually here right now. I think what's the most fearful thing that I think about is the currency that's being used for research right now to understand the consumer and where he's watching. We don't have a very good currency right now in research, meaning I don't believe Nielsen does a very good job in corralling the impressions that we're getting right now across all these platforms. And then so I call it leakage. We have a lot of leakage of impressions that I need to garner back.
The consumption of video on other devices.
Because listen, Facebook, great. Google, great. Snapchat, great. But what's talked about on those social platforms? Sports and news and entertainment. Mm-hmm. It's our content just spoke about in a different platform. Mm-hmm. So you need that content. It's not going away. It's how people are actually going to consume that content. So I do believe that, you know, from a cable perspective, you'll see more, we call them skinny bundles, but I would call, you know, different types of packaging. And I think strong brands are going to win. I don't believe there's a need for 500 channels in the cable industry. So I think you'll see that narrowing down because as skinny bundles come into play, stronger brands are going to win. Brands with great content, brands with great consumer experience, right? And so those are the two things we're focusing on. I think you're going to see a lot of direct-to-consumer type products. You saw us launch our first one ever with Filmstruck around classic movies that we believe is a niche. It's not. I don't need 49 million homes like Netflix, but if I can get 2 million homes at $7 a home times 12, that's a nice way to start getting a relationship with our consumer, understanding our consumer, collecting the data, putting it into our Turner data tanks, right? So I think direct-to-consumer will be part of the mix. And I do believe you're going to see advertising move into more of a target marketing, you know, where you can actually, listen, let's look at this business for just 10 seconds. What makes digital sexy? Why is digital sexy right now? It's sexy because it has the data, the analytics, and the target marketing. That's what makes it sexy. It doesn't really, although a few may, have reach and quality premium programming. What makes television sexy? Reach and quality premium programming. What television doesn't have right now is the data, the analytics, and the target marketing. What are we both trying to do right now? Television is trying to act more like digital. I'm buying all third-party data now. I have ad products out in the marketplace. I'm collecting first-party data. I'm buying third-party data. And so now I'm starting to be able to give advertisers a much more targeted audience. What is digital trying to do right now? They're trying to buy original programming. Their Twitter just bought this Thursday Night Football package. Facebook is Facebook Live. So Snapchat's trying to put more original content around their memory section and their story section. And so they're trying to get more like television, and we're trying to get more. And when you get to the middle, I think television will win because of the reach and the premium quality programming as long as we have the data.
I talk to CMOs all the time from
Yep.
one perspective. You talk to them for another.
Yeah.
What's your advice to CMOs?
Listen, I think the scary thing about CMOs today, and I may be wrong, this is the David Levy opinion, maybe not the actual reality, but to hold a CMO job now for more than 18 months is almost a miracle.
Yep.
Right?
We see it in our industry. We see it all the time.
I mean, it's almost a miracle. So you got 18 months to make a difference. So what happened? All the CMOs would look exactly what the old CMO did and go, wait a minute, that didn't work, so I'm going to go completely the other way. And I think that's why you saw a massive move to digital, because it was different, it was sexy, it made every front page of every newspaper or every magazine. And as I said back in the cable days when I used to go to Dan Ciccone and try to sell Turner Broadcasting, I didn't say not buy broadcast television. It was just a question of how much broadcast television. Is there another? I don't say don't buy digital. It's part of the mix. The question is, are you going too far into digital? And is there some uncertainty right now in the digital metrics, meaning visibility, viewability, accountability, all the things that are being questioned right now with the digital space. But not to say, listen, I know everybody's there, so there's a balance that has to be done. So my advice to CMOs is to make sure you have that balance.
What is, in your opinion, the best Game 7 on TNT in the NBA of all time?
I'd have to go with, honestly, this year. I mean, it was probably the best Game 7 ever, which was Oklahoma versus Golden State, when actually Oklahoma was up 3-1. Golden State comes back and wins the next 3 games, which ended up being the highest rated television event we ever had in the history of TNT. Like, whether it's sports or entertainment, it was the highest rated program we ever had was this past year when, as you know, this marketplace, people think television ratings are going down.
Oh, yeah.
We had that event just because of the freak nature of coming back from 3-1 down and what happened then after, which we can talk for hours, but I'm not going to, that there are people, and this is not my slogan, but there are people that drive the bus and the people that are passengers on the bus.
Yeah.
And Kevin Durant was a bus driver, and now he's a passenger.
Yeah.
Which is surprising from that game.
Yeah.
Meaning he now went to the team that beat him. Normally, if you're competitive, you stay on the team. Listen, I think Golden State, the ratings on Golden State next year are going to be phenomenal. We'll see what happens. We'll see if that team gels.
All right. Nice. Okay. Great Game 7. I agree.
Yeah.
Tell me what you think of when I say the word upfronts.
Wow, it's a great. I mean.
Come on, spit something out.
There's something else.
Association.
Money.
Ted Turner.
Visionary.
Brett Favre.
My favorite quarterback of all time.
Innovation.
Turner.
The art of the deal.
Love it. Part of it. Need it.
Today I bring this lovely Syracuse ornament. David, do you know anything
Look
about
great
Syracuse?
on my Hanukkah bush.
Oh, exactly. Now, again, if you don't celebrate Christmas, it has this wonderful LED light, which I'll try to turn on here. Oh, there we go. Lights up. You can use it as a paperweight, a flashlight, whatever you like. So basically what I'm looking for, I know it's not for you, though. Unless what I'm looking for my audience is the best offer out there, best trade offer for this lovely Syracuse, David's alma mater. Syracuse ornament. You can hit me up at the links below, unless David wants to trade something with me right now for this lovely ornament. Again, I'm taking a look at what David's got. I don't know how much money he's got in his pocket, but it's...
I could trade a 2 tickets to the Laker game for this season for that ornament.
What are you thinking?
I think that's a type of deal.
I don't know if it's
That's
our
what I
deal
think.
yet. David would never take a deal like that off the bat. So again, I'm looking for the best deal. If it beats out
What are
2
you telling
Laker
me?
tickets for the season, please hit me up in the links below. I need to thank both of you very much for...
It was enjoyable. Thank you.
Yes, it was
Glad to
really
be
a
here.
pleasure.
Dan, thank
Thank
you.
Dan, I have to shake you. You know, it's very nice to see you again. Please join us in the next episode of The BAM Show, Barter and Marketing, where we get you the real deal. Earlier today, we did a terrific episode with David Levy of Return and Broadcast. We did our usual trade at the end of the show, but I really had something I wanted to trade with him. We did something else to improvise, but Mike, I have a authentic David Levy Green Bay Packers jersey. And you notice he's wearing number 4. David Levy is obsessed with Brett Favre. Just take a look. Again, vintage, one of a kind. David may even sign it. Anyone want to trade? Hit it up on the links below. David, maybe you're willing to go for more than 2 Laker tickets.